What if the greatest secret to wealth, success, and a life of significance lay not in luck or genius, but in a humble, 10-minute daily discipline? Success is no accident. It is the inevitable result of applied philosophy, the consistent practice of simple, timeless principles. The world's most prosperous individuals, from Elon Musk to Warren Buffett, did not stumble into greatness. They cultivated it through a small but mighty ritual repeated daily. This ritual, refined to just 10 minutes, aligns focus, sharpens vision, and fuels the relentless pursuit of purpose. The philosophy is clear: how days are spent is how life is spent. Those who design their days around intentional habits design destinies of impact. What follows is not a shortcut, but a proven blueprint, a way to transform ordinary minutes into extraordinary momentum. Jim Rohn, the legendary motivational speaker, often emphasized, "Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day." The billionaires and visionaries of the world embody this truth. They do not wait for motivation or rely on luck. They design their days around habits that align their minds, actions, and energy with their deepest ambitions. Science calls this the compound effect. Rohn termed it the law of the farm. A seed planted today does not yield a harvest tomorrow. It requires daily nurturing, watering, weeding, protecting. Over time, that seed becomes a forest. 10 minutes a day may seem insignificant, but those minutes are the seeds of empires. We'll now talk about the 10-minute ritual that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Not a checklist, but a blueprint for becoming the architect of one's destiny. When purpose is clear, effort becomes effortless. Every morning, the world's most successful individuals reconnect with their North Star. They do not merely set goals, they fuse them to their deepest values. Oprah Winfrey built a media empire not by chasing wealth, but by asking daily, "How can I use my voice to lift others?" The practice. Spend 2 minutes writing a North Star statement. What legacy is being pursued? What problem burns in the soul to solve? This is not about crafting a novel, but igniting an inner fire. As Rohn famously taught, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. Number 2, identify the big 3 minutes. Activity is not achievement. John Wooden. Warren Buffett, one of history's greatest investors, lives by the 25-5 rule. Write down 25 goals, circle the 5 most critical, and ignore the rest. Each morning, he focuses on 3 non-negotiable tasks that align with those priorities. The practice. Ask, if only 3 things could be accomplished today, what would move the needle most? Jeff Bezos built Amazon by obsessing over one question: how do I make today better for the customer? The big 3 must answer a similar question for one's own mission. 3. Visualize victory, 2 minutes. Achievement begins in the imagination. Arnold Schwarzenegger visualized holding bodybuilding trophies long before he won them. Elon Musk pictured Mars colonization years before SpaceX launched rockets. Neuroscience confirms that visualization activates the same brain regions as real success, a mental rehearsal that builds confidence and creativity. The practice. Close the eyes and see the desired future. If building a business, visualize signing the first major client. Feel the handshake, hear the agreement, embody the confidence. This is not daydreaming, it is wiring the mind for inevitability. That's 4. Cultivate gratitude, 2 minutes. Gratitude is the antidote to entitlement, the enemy of growth. Oprah Winfrey kept a gratitude journal for decades, jotting down 5 daily blessings. Tony Robbins starts mornings with a mantra: "I'm grateful for this day, something wonderful is going to happen." Gratitude rewires the brain to see abundance, transforming "I have to" into "I get to." The practice: write 3 gratitudes, health, a mentor's advice, even setbacks that taught resilience. As Rome taught, don't wish it were easier, wish to be better. Gratitude turns challenges into teachers. 5. Affirm the identity, 1 minute. Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, grew up with a father who asked weekly, "What did you fail at this week?" Normalizing failure built her resilience and a billion-dollar empire. Affirmations anchor identity. The practice: stand before a mirror and declare, "I am disciplined, I am focused, I am unstoppable." Henry Ford's wisdom rings true. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Long before SpaceX launched its first Falcon rocket, Elon Musk devoted mornings to a quiet, relentless practice: mental time travel. Each day, he closed his eyes and visualized humanity's future as a multi-planetary species. He pictured reusable rockets landing vertically on Martian soil, saw astronauts cultivating greenhouses in alien atmospheres, and imagined interplanetary commerce thriving. This wasn't daydreaming, it was engineering with the mind. Musk's 10-minute visualization ritual became the scaffolding for SpaceX's audacious goals. When critics dismissed reusable rockets as fantasy, Musk's team achieved the impossible in 2015 by landing the Falcon 9 booster intact. If something is important enough, you should try, even if the probable outcome is failure, he often says. His daily mental rehearsals wired his brain and his company to see setbacks as stepping stones. Today, SpaceX's Starship prototypes and Starlink satellites orbit Earth, tangible proof of a man who dared to see first, then build.
At 5 a.m., while most of the world sleeps, Richard Branson dives into the Caribbean Sea or pedals a mountain bike through Necker Island's trails. Exercise, he insists, is non-negotiable, a keystone habit that fuels his mental clarity. It puts me in a winning mindset, he explains. But Branson's ritual doesn't end there. After physical exertion, he retreats to a quiet corner with a notebook, jotting down goals, ideas, and gratitude. This 10-minute trifecta, movement, reflection, and planning, has powered Branson's empire across industries. When launching Virgin Atlantic in 1984, he used morning journaling sessions to outline competitive strategies against British Airways. Decades later, as Virgin Galactic prepared for space tourism, those same rituals helped him navigate technical and regulatory hurdles. You don't learn to walk by following rules, Branson says. You learn by doing and by falling over. His mornings are a microcosm of that philosophy, a daily reboot of courage and focus.
Warren Buffett's legendary 25-5 rule began as a lesson for his pilot, Mike Flint. Write down your top 25 career goals, Buffett instructed. Circle the 5 most critical. The other 20, avoid them at all costs, they're distractions. This philosophy of elimination became Buffett's daily compass. Each morning, he reviews 3 priorities aligned with his ultimate mission: compounding value through timeless investments. Buffett's 10-minute ritual of ruthless prioritization shielded him from Wall Street's noise. While others chased tech bubbles or speculative trends, he doubled down on moat-protected businesses like Coca-Cola and Geico. His 1965 acquisition of Berkshire Hathaway, a failing textile mill, transformed into a $700 billion conglomerate, not by doing more, but by doing less, better. The difference between successful people and really successful people, Buffett says, is that really successful people say no to almost everything. His mornings are a masterclass in saying yes only to what matters. While Musk, Branson, and Buffett pursued different goals, their rituals shared a common DNA: unwavering consistency. These titans share no secret gene or lucky break. They share a commitment to daily rituals that align action with vision. Musk's mental rehearsals, Branson's clarity sessions, and Buffett's ruthless focus all distill ambition into manageable daily increments. Their 10-minute habits are not tasks, they are acts of faith in a future they refuse to leave to chance. The human brain is not static. It is a dynamic organ constantly reshaping itself in response to experience. This phenomenon, known as neuroplasticity, proves that repetition is the architect of the mind. Every time an individual visualizes a goal, practices gratitude, or recites an affirmation, they carve new neural pathways. Over time, these pathways become highways, making success feel less like a distant dream and more like a familiar destination. Consider the case of musicians. When a pianist rehearses a complex piece daily, their brain's motor cortex dedicates more neurons to finger movements, optimizing efficiency. Similarly, visualizing success, whether closing a deal or delivering a speech, activates the prefrontal cortex and basal ganglia, regions tied to planning and habit formation. Studies show that athletes who combine physical training with mental rehearsal improve performance by up to 35%. The takeaway? The brain cannot distinguish between imagined and real effort. By dedicating 10 minutes daily to mental rehearsal, individuals essentially pre-live their goals, conditioning their minds to recognize and seize opportunities. 2. The reticular activating system, RAS. The RAS, a tiny bundle of neurons at the brainstem, acts as a gatekeeper for consciousness. It filters the avalanche of daily stimuli, sights, sounds, thoughts, and highlights what aligns with prioritized goals. This explains why someone who buys a red car suddenly notices red cars everywhere. The RAS tags relevant information as important. Clarifying goals during the 10-minute ritual programs the RAS to spotlight aligned opportunities. For example, an entrepreneur focused on innovation might suddenly notice a gap in the market, recall a forgotten patent, or meet a like-minded collaborator. The RAS doesn't create luck, it heightens awareness of existing opportunities. A 2019 Harvard study found that goal-oriented individuals are 42% more likely to report serendipitous breakthroughs, not because they're luckier, but because their brains are wired to detect them. In short, the ritual transforms the RAS from a passive filter into an active scout, relentlessly scanning the world for tools to build the future. The compound effect. The compound effect is the universe's ultimate equalizer. Small, smart choices plus consistency plus time equals radical results. 10 minutes a day may seem trivial, but over a year it adds up to 60 hours, the equivalent of a masterclass in self-mastery. Consider two writers. One commits to writing 500 words daily, roughly 10 minutes of focused effort. The other waits for inspiration, writing sporadically. In a year, the first accumulates 182,500 words, enough for 2 full-length novels. The second has fragments and excuses. The difference isn't talent, it's consistency. The same principle applies to habits. Writing 3 daily priorities sharpens decision-making muscles like a daily word count, hones creativity. Visualizing success builds resilience against doubt, just as drafting chapters builds a writer's endurance. Gratitude strengthens emotional agility, akin to editing refining prose. Over months, these micro gains amplify. A 2023 Stanford study found that individuals who practiced a 10-minute daily planning ritual boosted productivity by 28% within 6 months. The key is non-negotiable consistency, showing up even when motivation wanes. As author Darren Hardy writes, the compound effect is the strategy of reaping huge rewards from small, seemingly insignificant actions. The Billionaire's 10-minute ritual is not a magic pill, it's the slow, steady drip that carves canyons. Making the ritual Unbreakable 1. Anchor to keystone habit. The human brain craves patterns. By anchoring the 10-minute ritual to an existing habit, like sipping morning coffee or brushing teeth, it becomes part of an automatic sequence, bypassing the need for willpower. This strategy, known as habit stacking, leverages the brain's love for routine. For example, Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx, pairs her morning goal-setting ritual with her first cup of tea. "It's not a task anymore, it's a reflex," she says. Charles Duhigg, author of The Power of Habit, explains that keystone habits act as small wins that trigger cascading positive behaviors. Over time, the ritual transforms from discipline to autopilot, much like buckling a seatbelt. 2. Track progress relentlessly. Jerry Seinfeld's "Don't break the chain" method is more than a productivity hack, it's a psychological weapon against procrastination. The strategy is simple: hang a calendar and mark an X each day you complete a habit, writing, exercising, or practicing a skill. Your only rule: never break the chain of X's. The visual streak taps into psychological triggers: momentum, pride in a growing chain, loss aversion, dread of breaking progress, and identity reinforcement. Each X proves I follow through. Seinfeld used this to write jokes daily, proving creativity is a habit, not luck. Studies show tracking progress boosts goal adherence by 42%. Billionaire Ray Dalio journals daily decisions, noting what gets measured gets managed. The calendar becomes a mirror, X's reflect discipline, gaps expose complacency. It's not about perfection but consistency. The chain turns aspirations into a game where showing up daily is the ultimate win. 3. Start small, scale strategically. James Clear's Atomic Habits underscores a truth: habits stick when they're easy. Beginning with a 5-minute version of the ritual lowers resistance. Once the habit is ingrained, scaling to 10 minutes feels natural, not forced. Consider the story of author Stephen King, who wrote just 200 words a day early in his career. Today, he writes 2,000. Amateurs sit and wait for inspiration. The rest of us just get up and go to work, he says. Similarly, starting with a condensed ritual, like reviewing only one goal or listing one gratitude, builds momentum. As Jim Rohn taught, you don't have to change the whole world in a day, just change today. This ritual builds more than wealth. It forges character, clarity, and legacy. 3 shifts occur. 1. Clarity. The relentless pursuit of success often leads to emptiness. Clarity shifts the focus to significance, aligning daily actions with legacy. When Howard Schultz founded Starbucks, his North Star wasn't profit, but to create a third place between work and home. This clarity guided decisions from employee benefits to store ambiance. The ritual's daily realignment acts as a compass, ensuring energy flows toward meaningful impact. As Viktor Frankl wrote, those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. 2. Confidence. Confidence isn't innate, it's earned through repeated evidence of competence. Completing the big 3 daily tasks builds a reservoir of proof. I set a goal, I achieved it, I can do it again. A 2022 University of Melbourne study found that individuals who celebrated micro wins, like finishing a priority task, reported 37% higher self-efficacy. J.K. Rowling's confidence grew not from publishing Harry Potter, but from writing 1 page daily while raising a child as a single mother. It's impossible to live without failing at something, she said, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all. 3. Legacy. The final shift is the most profound, moving from what can I get to what can I give. Legacy-minded individuals like Melinda French Gates and Warren Buffett dedicate their later years to philanthropy, but the seeds are planted daily, The ritual's gratitude practice fosters abundance thinking, while affirmations reinforce identity as a contributor. As Rohn famously said, "Only by giving do you receive more than you already have." 1. Wake 10 minutes earlier. Sacrificing 10 minutes of sleep buys 10 minutes of intentionality. While the body adjusts initially, the long-term payoff, a lifetime of purposeful mornings, far outweighs temporary fatigue. Apple CEO Tim Cook rises at 3:45 a.m. to meditate and plan. "You can't innovate without clarity," he says. 2. Invest in a notebook. Writing by hand engages the brain's motor cortex, enhancing memory and commitment. A notebook becomes a time capsule of growth. Einstein carried one everywhere, scribbling ideas that later became relativity theories. 3. Weekly review. Every Sunday, a 10-minute review answers one question: am I closer to my goals than last week? This audit reveals patterns, procrastinated tasks, recurring distractions, and allows course correction. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella blocks Fridays for reflection, calling it the oxygen for reinvention. In 30 days, 5 hours invested in the ritual yield a transformed mindset. In a year, 60 hours compound into mastery, equivalent to a master's degree in self-leadership. The return on this investment? Final thoughts: the power of choice. Jim Rohn's wisdom echoes, "Your life is not a rehearsal, this is it." The billionaires of the world are not mythical beings. They are ordinary people who chose to show up day after day for their extraordinary visions. 10 minutes a day is not a sacrifice. It is a sacred contract with one's potential, a declaration that the future is not left to chance, but designed with intention. The greatest oak in the forest began as a vulnerable sapling, weathering storms and stretching toward light. Its strength came not from size, but from daily growth. Your empire starts today. Grab a notebook, set your timer for 10 minutes, and begin.